This is Living Awake. Hey, what's going on, world? It is Melanie, Fiona, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of Awake Radio. And of course, this is a space where we share our stories, share our music, the soundtrack to our lives as we navigate through life in awakening moments. So every episode, you know, I'm blessed to have amazing guests, and today is no exception. I have a fellow artist, I have a fellow sister, a fellow amazing woman doing amazing things with her life, a fellow international artist as well. I'd like to introduce you guys to the one, the only Grammy Award-winning Estelle. Yes, exactly. Your own round of applause. Right, I ain't mad at you. But yes, I want to thank you so much for coming on here today. And I wanted us to just kind of sit and chill and talk the way we do as friends.
Yeah.
And just share the experience about what it's been like for you, for us, as artists who've taken the leap to leave our homes and follow our dreams. And so I entitled this episode, Daring to Dream. And I want to get into it by quoting a friend of ours, Cardinal Official. Brat, shout out to Toronto. Brat, shout out to Canada. Cardi has been such a staple in my foundation of music in Canada, on the music scene. And of course, he's a friend of yours. You guys have connected and collaborated as well. In fact, I discovered you through Cardi. At his house, in his basement, making music. And he was Skyping with you.
Yep, there you go.
And he played me your stuff, and it was amazing. Aww. And Cardi released his album when he first did his big international release, and he got on the mic at his own album release party, and his quote was, "You don't become international by staying local."
And he's spot on.
And he's spot on. He's like, if you got your last $300 and you want to make this dream happen, go to where it is you need to go. I don't care. He's like, people are always like, oh, I don't have money. He's like, if you get that $300, you
sell
use
them
it.
trainers, sell them sneakers.
Sell those sneakers, exactly.
Do what you gotta do.
So I wanted that to say, first of all, shout out to you, Cardi, because you have just been a storyteller and a representation for where I'm from, to be an inspiration as to going out and pursuing your dreams. And I remember when I first saw Cardi on 106 in Park.
Right.
Like, that was
it's amazing,
huge for our city. So, you know, I know for me, coming from Toronto, it was difficult. Like, our music scene for R&B or hip hop was never designed to support us so that we had to stay in Canada, and we could stay in Canada. It's very different now. You've got Drake, who's just opened up the world to the sick side.
You have artists who are amazingly talented and amazingly successful in Canada. Same thing in the UK.
In the UK. So that was my next question. What is it? What was it like for you when you were coming up? Because obviously you had domestic success. You were doing hip hop and you had music out and like you were doing it. So like, tell the people what your journey's been like.
So I feel like I came back along. My career kind of started in the UK as a kind of almost like a reboot period for the UK music scene, where it needed something different and it needed something defiant and it needed something fresh and someone who didn't look the part and who wasn't going to play the game.
Hey now.
You know, but the point being, like, I wasn't going to go out there and be like, I'm going to pretend to be this girl, you know, and I still don't do it now. But to that point, it was like, nah, you know, and because every other black artist, every other black girl who looked like me, who came from where I came from, ended up doing music that I was like, all right.
That's not me.
I mean, I'm happy for you because we're from the same space, but it's trash and you know it, you know. So, you know, it was a hard thing for me. It wasn't hard for me to stick to my guns, but it was a hard look. It was a hard look for the industry. They didn't know what to do with it. Literally didn't know what to do. They would take my demos and I'd see other artists essentially doing my songs. And I was like, what the, you know, it would be so, I would always be the girl like, I just sent that to his A&R.
Right.
I sent that to her. And it was so, I never wanted to be the girl who was always screaming about what she never got. So I just decided to just do it myself. I said, all right, cool. Well, y'all don't get it. Cool. I'm going to show you. So I just did it myself. You know, I literally set my companies up. I did what I had to do. And then when I hit a peak in the UK where it was, again, we don't know what to do with somebody like you that sees yourself above a certain level that we've never experienced and we don't know what to do. I was like, cool, I'm going to show you what to do. All right, I'm out. You know?
No, I totally feel that, because coming from Toronto, I would come down to the States and, you know, I'd take meetings and people would be like, oh, so you sing R&B? Wow, I didn't know Canada had singers. And I'm like, yeah, we all live in igloos too, and we leave our doors unlocked because that's what you guys seem to think about everything. And
pretty much.
It's like, people literally would say to me, I thought Canadians were square.
What does that mean?
What does that
I don't
even
even understand
mean?
what that means.
I don't know. Whatever you
Yeah.
think we are, we're talented at
Sure.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I had to come in and try to like break these barriers
Right.
with people that had these preconceived notions about what they were expecting me to be.
Right.
And then one thing that I experienced in coming into the American market,
Right.
which I mean, I had people know, like I was a teenager, I dabbled in a girl group up there. We never released an album, but that gave me my first taste of the Canadian music industry. And
Right.
that was very different than jumping into the, like, if you call it a pond,
Right.
then there's the ocean,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
America. And it's
absolutely.
like, I was given this perception that like, I mean, you make it in America, you can make it anywhere. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yep.
But I really just wanted to make it at home too. Like,
Right.
you know, so I did the big leap, and then I came out, I got those, you know, misperceptions about myself, and I had to fight through these like ideals. So like people would be like, well,
you've done it. You want to sit down now?
yeah, well, not even
you're
that.
not-
They would say to me,
yeah.
they'd be like, "Well, you don't really look like how you sing."
girl.
And I was like, "What does that even mean?"
God
Like,
knows.
did anyone tell Whitney Houston she didn't look like how she could sing?
I'm so beyond the you don't look like or you should look like
Or
your kind of look doesn't really do this kind of. I've heard it so many levels and so many ways that I like know how to kind of
Swerve.
head it off of the past and make them feel stupid when they say it.
Of
You know,
course.
I'm pretty slick like that.
Well,
nowadays.
well,
yeah.
listen,
Yeah, I know.
I totally
know.
get it, because now we've
Yeah.
come to a point for both of us, I think, in our careers now, where we are back in that full circle space of
Yep.
being like, no, well, this is who I am unapologetically.
Exactly.
And I found that like in the beginning, you're finding your way. Like I know for me, I knew there were some moments where I had to find my way, and like I had to entrust a lot of people around me. And unfortunately, not everybody is trustworthy.
Yeah.
Not everybody actually knows who you are. And some people just look at you like a product, and they don't
that's-
take into the
that's-
fact that you're a person.
And that's fine. And that's what their job description is. And that's what their purpose is at that point in your life. What I've learned to do in those situations is chalk it up to that. That's what you're here for.
That's
Cool. And when your job is done, you can go.
You can go.
Yeah,
You know,
can go.
I've definitely
Yeah.
experienced that where people didn't understand, because I come and I'm Caribbean.
Right.
You're mixed too. You're
Yeah.
Caribbean as well. And so we come from this culture of
Yeah.
a slang and a vibe and
an
an energy
and
that
people don't
that
get
people
it.
sometimes didn't understand for me in America.
They still don't understand it to a point. You know, I go out, I mean, everyone, I walk in a room, whatever it is, I overline things, American boy. You know, and with that record came a certain amount of British properness. But then they had Come Over. And to me, that still is the proper British version of a reggae record. To me, that's not like a Marcia Griffiths down there roots version. To me, that's more Louisa Mark, right? And so this is where we know, you know, it becomes a whole cultural thing.
Right.
So it's a different swerve and a different energy to the way I would sing Come Over. But people were having such a hard time to a point trying to be like, but you're proper. I don't. Now you're singing love songs and you're whining with Sean Paul and that. What? And it was so hard.
But it's like, I'm an artist. I can do whatever I
can do
want.
it. I've
and
never
I
not done it.
identify with these things.
Exactly.
So why don't you identify with
Me.
who I am and what I am? And
Exactly.
maybe you just don't.
And
From
that's fine.
Which is fine, because someone
yeah.
and some people and
Yeah.
some group out there does.
Yeah.
And so I know, like, when I
frustrating.
did my first album, I called it The Bridge.
Right.
And, you know, I came out with this sample of Time of the Season, which was
Mm-hmm.
the Zombies, and people did not know what to expect. They were
to do
like,
with
is this
it.
a white girl? Is this a black girl? Like, it was all these things. And I'm like, well, I'm Canadian. I'm a woman of color. Like, I'm mixed. I'm Caribbean.
But here's
And
the culture over
Here's the
here.
culture over here. I grew up listening to pop, rock, reggae, hip hop, R&B. I embody all of these things because that's what my melting pot and culture was.
We have the one thing I always want to always say when I'm like, I could say it from a standpoint of having lived here for 8 years. We are way far more advanced as far as just the world. You know, like the way the world is now, we've been living that for our entire lives up until like the past 10 years before we came out here.
Absolutely.
So it's a completely different, we're sitting there coming essentially from the future going, so y'all don't listen to this and this at the
And this
same
and
damn
this?
time? No? Like you
Yeah.
didn't grow up in this?
I
And,
didn't
you know,
like-
people were like, nah. And
I
now,
didn't like having to check a box.
I refuse to check a box.
I refuse to be put in a box.
I refuse.
Believe me, I totally understand it. And, you know, like, I love being from Canada. Like, I love that I was exposed to that worldview, that I had friends from all different walks of life, and it wasn't foreign. When I came out here, it was a real culture shock for me because I started to have people say, define you by your look, by your hair, by how you sound, who you hang out with. And I'm like, oh, I don't even know what that means.
How about that?
And so going back to the journey of like what it was for you, what was that moment, and like what was that awakening moment for you where you knew, I have to branch out, put fear aside, and like go for this if I want to let the world know who I am truly?
Well, I think it started in the UK. I had my deals. I had my deal in the UK, and I was just never quite satisfied. I understood I had to do the core work and put in work for the fan base at home, and people who loved them essentially put me in a space to have a career. But then I would go into the labels, and I walked into the label with a musician I listened to because music, right? And he's just won 12 Grammys, and forget whether he was nominated for a Brit. He won 12 Grammys.
Right.
He just won a crap load of Grammys. He's written on every single R&B singer's songs ever in that year. He won so many awards. He was such a great and celebrated artist. And they literally said to me, who? I said, and he was on my album. What do you mean, who?
Right.
John Legend.
Right.
So at that point, I was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. I have to leave. I have to leave this entire country. Again, I think it speaks to like just, that to me was a culture shock thing too, because as far as I'm concerned, there's a certain level of insularness in the UK as much as there is here. But I just thought everybody listened to what I listened to and heard the same things I heard and saw that, the new musicians the way I did. Apparently not. So at the point, and it was especially like a what's the word? It was like even worse because the guy who I ended up being signed to when my first draft of label pitches to, play the music, he was like, I don't get it. Then I end up being signed to him.
That's my favorite phrase. I don't get it.
I don't get it. It's the most wonderfully passive aggressive, lazy. I don't actually want to do my job. I just want to keep a check.
I don't want to try to understand. I don't want to expand my life.
I don't want to hear this music. Right. I like what's popping. Do me what they just did, but they just had my demos and did what the hell I'm playing you now.
Right.
So he had told me. Take it back. That he had told me in my first run, I don't get it. So end up being signed to him. So successful album, 2 top 20 records later, I say to him, yo, so the next record, John Legend wants to produce it. And he's like, who's that? I said, he was on the album that we just got top 20. I have to leave. Let me go. And at that point, I was like, all right, I'm out. I don't care how are we going to do this? I am out. And as luck would have it, so I'm talking to John about doing the album. I said, well, we're going to do the second album, but look, listen, I just got asked to let go from a label because I can't do this crap. And they asked me who you were. And he was like, I'll sign you. That was literally his word. And I was like, well, damn, okay.
Well, hello, awakening moment.
Well,
hello, awakening
But it was
moment.
literally that moment. I was like, you don't get it. He gets it. I respect him and his opinion far more than I respect yours. Whatever happens here, I'm going to work with him on this record. And just so happened that, he started homeschool because of our relationship with music, and he wanted to help put me on out here. It took 3 years. As much as they didn't get it, they didn't get it, but they definitely didn't want to let me go, which was just bananas. I'd never get it. But that was the moment I was like, I can't sit here and be held to you not getting something. This is my life. I'm mid-20s. I don't understand. I'm not going to sit here and just sit under your headspace of what you think can and cannot be done. I'm going to go ahead and do this.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. No, and I think that that's a testament to the success you've had, to what it really takes. And it's kind of knowing yourself and kind of just, like I said, daring to dream of who you know yourself to be. And again, like for me, from Canada, like I love being from Canada. I love it. But
what was your awakening? What was your I had to get the house?
For me, it came from well, first of all, I was presented with the opportunity. Cool. And, I was really young starting in the game. I was a teenager and I had met I was, doing this girl group situation. Yeah. And I met my still and current management production team, and she was based in Carmen, and she was based in LA, and she was like, I want to fly you out because I want you to see how we do business. Right. And so I was like, okay. In growing up in Canada, the American music industry was the be all and end all. And then when I released, I actually toured I released internationally before American.
How about that?
So it then all came back full circle, and now I'm coming back into the States, and they're asking me about what I'm doing, and I'm like, I just got back from Switzerland.
How about that?
I just got back from, Italy.
It's amazing. I still get people asking me, I've been here in the US for 8 years. Did you fly in from London? I'm like, yeah, nah.
Yes, 8 years ago.
These 8 years ago. Yes, it's been an 8-year journey. It took me 8 years to fly here because we came by boat. And we took a train some places. I'm sarcastic as hell when it gets to it, but
right.
it's that realistic. Like, I get asked that at least once a week when I fly into a different city. Did you just come in from London? No.
On the separate side of things, in full transparency, I've had more success internationally and in America than I have in Canada.
Right.
People know me more here in the States than they do in Canada.
How's that feel?
It's not, doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. I'm just going to be straight up. And I know like my Canadian audience is listening right now, and I love them, and I love where I'm from, and I've repped Canada from day one.
Right.
But the reality is I am more known outside of my home city and my home country than I am, than I'm known there. So it is always a goal for me in a reverse space,
to put the market down,
to put the market on the map for myself in back home. So I think with now, especially as international artists, the world is the platform. You got Spotify's and Pandora's and the streaming services, and so now again, we are now here. The American music market is catching up to this international space of opening up to all types of music. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I totally feel you on that. Yeah. Another thing that I think is really important for people to understand when you, because people just say, oh, wow, you've been around the world and you've seen what that comes with the sacrifice.
Oh, my goodness.
And like, I don't think people understand that it's hard. Like we were just talking about during the break, we were talking about the reset button.
Yeah.
Like how we still need to go back home to get that reset.
It's important. Luckily, I have a huge family, so I get surprise visits. I get ridiculously timed WhatsApp and Instagram and text messages and phone calls and FaceTimes, like 2 a.m. Oh, I'm just waking up and going my way to work, and I'm just like, I sleep. Like, what are you doing? Like, they don't care because you live in this life, But it's important every so often to just hit it, go get your fill, or have your people come, get your fill, get your moment, and then get back to work. We don't actually ever have the luxury of switching off.
No.
And I say this, I'm like, I could dress down. I had no makeup on and went to the store, and someone had taken a bet on whether it was me or not in the store, and I was like, I looked extra bummy, extra trampy. Like I had like mismatched sweats on. I don't know what I had on my feet. I feel like I may have had slippers. I looked a mess.
Slippers and socks, one of those days.
Yeah, I had my headscarf down. Like I had my head down. I think I had a scarf on. I don't know. It was just, I looked trash. And they were like, you Estelle? I was like, maybe. Because I mean, like, you can't, like, they look at you in your face, you really can't be like, no, it's not me. Like, like, sometimes I say it and they be like, girl, you ain't gotta lie. And I run off and it's embarrassing. So, but like, things like that happen. You never get a chance to switch off. And that's fine. I accept it as part and parcel of what I do, but I'm very clear about the fact that I do run out of steam sometimes.
We all do.
My body lets me know.
Human.
And I sit it down.
Absolutely.
And you need the reset.
You need the reset. I mean, I think about times I've missed very important moments in my family's lives, like because I've had a massive show. I remember I was on tour with Alicia Keys, and we were touring, and I was actually we were in Scotland, and my grandmother had passed away in Florida, and there was only a day in between, and I was trying everything in my power to figure out how I could take that day, get over there and back. But because of the time difference, it wasn't going to work. And I missed out on my grandmother's funeral. I missed my mom's 50th birthday with everybody being there. I've missed out on major moments that are so important to...
And people take it for granted.
They take it for granted. Yeah. They do take it for granted.
And I mean, a lot of the times you're just the entertainment. So just turn up and sing. It's like, well, I have brothers and sisters and family members.
I have family members too. Like I'm a human. And people don't think about it when we take that opportunity to say, I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to dare to dream. I'm going to leave my home. I'm going to leave all my comforts and everything that I know to go and pursue this thing that I think is calling me, that I feel I'm destined to do, that I love for myself. And if we're lucky enough, we have families who support us and love us.
But it's still not the same as being there. And I think every human can attest to that. You want to be there for majority of things, but we give up a lot. Our teams give up a lot, and we're very thankful. And people can compare it, say, "Oh, well, you got loads of money."
Well, first of all, you don't know my financial situation, so don't be telling me what I have and what I don't have.
Don't read my pockets.
Don't be in my pockets.
But second of all,
hashtag don't read my pockets.
Right, don't read my pockets. What do you mean? Get your nose out my pockets. But the main point is like I could say that to you and be like, I mean, well, cool, you have money, you have a job, and you get to do what you want to do, and you're not really out here struggling. But would you miss the birth of your niece or your nephew? Would you miss your mother's funeral? Would you miss those things? Would you miss those things?
Exactly.
So the money aspect is neither here or there. It's human attachments that we don't have the opportunity to
always
not miss.
Take advantage of. Exactly.
To not be a part of. That's hurtful. That's the part where it's just like you have to breathe out, suck it up, and keep going because no one cares. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. But we're blessed and we're lucky. We're happy. Yeah.
This is the life that we've chosen, and with great risk comes great reward, and I always say that, and I'm thankful for my opportunities in my journey, and now I feel like I'm at the point in my career where I feel more empowered, and I feel more in control, and I feel not as frazzled to have to splinter myself, and so I've made decisions to say, no, I'm not missing that,
and that's the part.
And that's the part where it's great.
Part right
and so
there,
you
where
grind
I can be
and put it in.
I'm not doing that today because this is happening. I'm actively turning that down. Thank you. We can reschedule it. If y'all want me, we can reschedule. I'm
actively turning it down.
I'm
Absolutely.
actively turning this down.
Amazing. Well, I want to ask you 3 questions that I ask everyone who comes on the show, because it's about being awake. It's about being present. They're very simple. There's no trick questions. She was like, oh, what are they?
Now I got to think. Hold up.
And it's all about being awake, and it's all about, what tools you use on your journey to help you go. So first question is, what is your life's mantra? Or do you have a root word that keeps you on your journey, focused on your purpose, and just on track?
I don't have a root word more than I have a root phrase, and it's like take a moment. I used to run like in my 20s, and this has come with being a grown up, being older, I want to say. In my 20s, I used to blindly run ahead, instinct. And a lot of the instinct, I was hitting my instincts, and I was making progress, but I wasn't learning some of the lessons, right? So I would do stuff, and then I'd be like, we're great, this is great. And then I'd be hurt for the other half of everything that was happening. I'd be so hurt, things would be falling down, it'd be horrible, but everything was great. So my instinct got me there, so we good. And then it came back to real life, and I hated everybody I was around and everything and I had to take ownership for the things I'd done to put that into place. So I started hitting my point of like, take a moment, think about how all this is going to be affected. And if you still feel like you got to do it, go with it. Know that this is the downfall, know that this is the upswing, and here's what you can do to like mitigate that and work smart.
Yes, that is a good one. Take a moment. Yeah. Okay, second question is, what makes you feel most awake? What makes you feel most alive, engaged, present?
When I wake up in the morning and I'm not tired, that's when and it's so literal.
Listen.
Oh, it's so literal.
Is the most real answer anyone has ever given.
It's so, there's no metaphors here for this. Let me tell you, when I've had a good 12 hours sleep.
Yes, for 12 hours.
I'm not joking. And that happens like once in a blue moon. Like when I can let myself sleep, when I'm not working,
and it's not the physical working, it's the mental working.
It's the mental working, and then it's the physical on top of that. I said to my team, I was like, we hop on and off planes at a moment's notice. We're ready to go. I keep a bag packed. It's that real, and you don't sleep on airplanes. No. So if you imagine if you're traveling 2 or 3 cities in a week, you literally haven't slept for an entire week. You may have had 3 or 4 hours, and in that week you can probably max about 23 hours of sleep in a week, when the average person gets 7 to 8 hours a night. Average person,
and gets to wake up in their bed,
gets to wake up
every day,
their bed.
Forget hotels.
So we're hitting 3
cities.
hours in different cities, and and that's insane. It does something to your psyche.
So when you're rested,
so when I'm asleep for 24 hours, that's what I feel the most.
Yes, girl, I am mad at you. I am mad at you.
Oh, it's real life.
It's real life.
It's real life.
Well, then that goes to the next question: is what is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
And it's not cliche. I literally say, "Oh, thank you, God."
Yes,
because and especially more and more, especially this year, it's been so hard. People have just been gone for no reason. It's been hard. This year has been emotionally taxing. So I'm just very thankful for that I'm awake. My people are good. Everybody I love and everybody I know is straight. People check in with me, I'd be like, oh, thank you, Lord. So I literally say that, like, it's been more of a conscious effort for gratitude, every morning. Like,
amazing.
Thank you, God. All right, let's get on with the day.
Yes.
What function am I looking at?
Exactly. Well, you know what? But that's the truth.
I have to look at on Twitter. Oh, God, let me turn Twitter off. It's that real.
But that's the truth. And I asked that question because I do feel it's so important to set the tone for what your day is. And if you start your day with gratitude, gratitude will find you things to be grateful for.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, listen,
thank you.
What are you working on right now? Please.
I'm working on new music. Thank the Lord.
Yes.
Everyone's been asking me. So, like, I'm working on new music. I have 2 projects I'm working on back to back because I take too long. So if I work on both at the same time.
You don't take too long. You take your time.
I take my time. There you go. So I figure if I work on both at the same time, I could put them out and get me some space, get me some time, buy myself some time. But no, it's been a lot to write about, and a lot to sing about. So I'm working on them both at the same time. I'm working on TV. I'm working on content. I'm building a whole TV production unit. So I'm working. I found another passion. I'm excited.
Listen,
also, I have a website, a retail website.
There you go.
I've been working. Called LV. L-vie.com. And it's essentially curated for us by us. That's the theme. That's essentially the tagline. So people send me a lot of clothes. People send me a lot of accessories, and they put me on. People send me art and things like that. And a lot of the time, it's young designers, young black designers, young white designers, young whatever designers, and they're just sending me stuff that I don't ever know where to get en masse. I never know how to get it, like 2 or 3 of that dress, because they're making them hand to hand, and to me that's just custom. So I wanted to put together a space. Me and my partner Janelle Brooks, my stylist, we put together a space where you can sew your pieces in low quantities. And it's all curated and picked by me with her.
Brilliant.
And we do this together. And we have about 25 vendors so far. It's building. It's been wonderful. We launched in Thanksgiving weekend. It's going great. I know. I'm so proud. I'm so happy. So yeah,
that's awesome. See, I mean, I love it because the options and the there's no limits. There's no limits. And so good for you for expanding, for staying creative, for being true to yourself, for continuing to grow and share that. Thank you. And thank you for being here. Where can they find you online?
You can find me on my Instagram, Estelle Darlings, and on Snapchat and on Facebook. Facebook is just Estelle, but the rest of it is all Estelle Darlings. Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter.
Amazing. Well, you're Estelle, and everyone knows you. We
darling,
can find you.
You can find me. Google me, darling.
Google me, darling.
Google me, darling.
And on that note, because I love having fellow singers on here, it's not just about my music; it's about our music.
You,
and I want to get into another favorite song of yours.
Okay.
Which is "Come Over," reggae vibes for my Caribbean people.
There you go.
I love it. We're gonna end off on that, and I just want to thank you for being here.
Thank you,
I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank everyone for watching, and until the next time, guys, stay awake.
Bye.
See ya.
If I was to tell you just how much I need you, would you come tonight? Or would you not believe me? 'Cause a love that easy never turns.